Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Skyzone SKY03 FPV goggles. Now you might be thinking, Andy, haven't I already seen this video? And yes, 7 months ago Skyzone sent me the SKY03. However, they weren't ready for customers. The faceplate was completely wrong for a Western nose. The DVR didn't quite work correctly and we fed that back. And they've come up with what seems like a completely different package. I mean, just look at that, it's completely different. So let's take a look what we have got inside. So we have got a manual here, and then we've got like a little QR code thing. What was this one like? Just trying to remember. So manual, and it does look like we've got a similar sort of thing. This one I've never opened, by the way. So we have got a pouch in there. And then we've got all of our cables and stuff in there. And what was this one like? Yeah, it's been like 7 months. So yeah, the pouch is different and everything. So let's take a look what we have got in here. So never been open this. Oh, look at that. So we have got 2 face foams. And then this is completely sealed here. Look at that. So yeah, already seen a bigger part for the nose. That was the biggest problem. Let's take a look at the other one. So I think those ones were black. Let's have a look at the buttons. Now the button layout looks the same. Yeah, the buttons on this, yeah, they were a little bit tricky for the menus. Some of them had like double functions and stuff. So yeah, I'll see if this one is the same. We've got a different fan here. It's got like Batman on it or something like that. Yeah, okay, yeah, this seems like they have changed quite a lot. So I'm going to take all of this apart in a minute. Let's just have a look what we've got in here while I'm here. So we've got 2 rubber ducky antennas. We've got a head tracker cable. We have got, that looks like a trainer cable. And then this is going to be how we power it. So from a LiPo, and then we've got a AV lead as well. Okay, so they've given these 3 padding options. This one's like a faux leather, and what I've done is I've sort of just tested to see how they feel, so just put them up on there, and this one feels a little bit harsh against my face. And then we have got these here, and I think those are about the same thickness. And yeah, my nose is fitting fine here, but one thing I'm noticing is this isn't quite wrapping around my face as much as the other goggles. So they have come out with these. So it looks like we have got some more sort of faux leather foam. And the idea is that you stick those in there and they sort of taper it down. And then you can stick that over the top and hopefully it will wrap around my face a little better. So let's try that. So it's a couple of days later and I've spent a lot of time with these goggles. So for the faceplate I used the inserts that they provided, and I also used the thicker foam, and these now fit really comfortable on my face, and we've got the bigger nose cutout here, so there's no problems with the fitment. What's interesting about this goggle, and I mentioned it in my first review, is that they come with these what look like diopters, but as you can see there's no power in them, they are just clear. And I was a bit unsure why they had provided diopters with no power, but some of you guys mentioned that it's probably to protect the lenses here. But just like with the first version I received, what's unusual about this goggle is that I need glasses because I'm short-sighted, and with Fat Sharks and the Aomways I need to use -2 diopters to see anything on the screen, otherwise it's just blurred. But they have done something different with the optics here, because without the diopters, so just these stock lenses that they have provided, I can see things on the screen, so I can see the menu system. And by the way, the menu system hasn't changed whatsoever, so I'm not going to go through all of that. I'll link to my original video, because one of the problems I found with these goggles is that, you know, there's so many buttons and features and it's a little bit confusing. Some of them have double functions, and like I say, if you're interested in learning about that, then check out the video in the below. I wish it was more simple, but they've just tried to pack a load of features into this goggle. But yeah, I do not need diopters to see the screen. However, this is a huge field of view and I'm getting blurriness around the edges just like I do with the HD2s. So if I stick my -2 diopters in here, I can just about get a clear image with the IPDs maxed out to the edge. The reason why I get a clear image with the diopters in is what diopters do, and it's the same with glasses, is they do shrink the image slightly, and I think that just makes the edges a little bit more crisp. But with these in, I can see all of my on-screen display, and the quality of the screens is just fantastic. So here is a field of view comparison of the Sky03s against the Aomway V2s. Now I chose these two because I think they are competing with each other, and Skyzone has listed the field of view up to 43 degrees, and the Aomway V2 is listed as 45 degrees. However, as you can see, the Aomway V2 has a larger field of view than the Sky03s, and I would say more than 2 degrees as well. So I would say the figures of the Sky03 are a little bit sketchy, and for me, the Aomway V2 has won when it comes to field of view. And they have made some other changes with this goggle. First of all, there's no center strap. With the first version I got, there was that option, but they seem to have done away with that. We've still got the hoop here. And they've added a super cap, so if you are recording and disconnect your battery, it will save the recording. So we still have the camera and the LED, which I'll never use. I don't know why those are in there, but it's a unique thing to Skyzone. The biggest issue I have with these goggles is light leak. Now, it's not something that I had with the first version. The first version was black, but I'll overlay some images here as well. When I hold this up to a light, you can see that you get sort of like an orange orb, and I had this problem with the batch of the HDOs as well, which they have corrected now. But it's very distracting, and I'm sure you could add bits of tape to it and things to get rid of it, but this white plastic is slightly opaque, and yeah, it's really off-putting. And, you know, these goggles are feature-packed, but when I compare them to the Aomway V2s, those have some great features like the zoom function, and they also have a 16:9 option, and I just think they are a slightly better goggle. But anyways, let's go and take them for a fly. I've got my Menace patch antenna on here, and I've also got an Aomway cloverleaf, and let's see how they perform. Alrighty, so let's take a look at some DVR footage, and straight away I just want to say, wow, these goggles really do perform well. A lot of people talk about the video reception of Skyzones, and just look at this behind the tree, just a couple of lines of breakup there. Now, when I reviewed the EV200Ds, I was almost getting a complete blackout behind those trees, and the Furious True D system performed better, but I think this is performing better than those, so I was really impressed with that. I very rarely go behind these trees, but it was not a problem. So the DVR has really improved as well. So with the first version I was getting a lot of frames dropped. That is not the case with this, so they've done some work with that. I think the aspect ratio is a little bit more squished compared to the Fat Sharks, but of course you can fix that in an editor, and hey, maybe, you know, the Fat Sharks DVR is a little bit too stretched in comparison. Maybe I'm just so used to looking at Fat Sharks. But yeah, I've got a GoPro on this copter, so the audio that you are hearing is a mix between the DVR of these goggles and the GoPro, and they did not go out of sync at all, so really impressed with how it is not dropping frames, and that is a good thing. So the image quality was just fantastic as well. Nice bright colors, and the brightness and contrast, no problems there whatsoever. Didn't need to change it at all. The only issue that I see with these goggles is the light leak. However, there is a black version, so I would say if you are really interested in these goggles, get the black version, because I think that is a slightly different material, and I didn't get any light leak with those. I think there's also a red version as well. I cannot comment on the red version, but I have the black version, of the very first ones that they sent, and there were no light leak problems. So Skyzone, if you are watching this, you need to do something about that because it's really distracting. That being said, once I was flying this thing, I didn't notice it so much, and these goggles, there was just something that sat right with me. As you can see, I'm absolutely ragging this copter, and it was an absolute joy to fly with these goggles. So, you know, there you go. And there's a power button if you are just so obsessed with power buttons. I don't get it myself, but they do have a power button. And I think this goggle is competing directly with the Aomway V2. For me, I think the Aomway V2 just clinches it in features because it's got the simple menu, and it has got the 16:9 option, and it's got the zoom feature. So for me, I think the Aomways just clinch it, but they are slightly more expensive. And if you are a Skyzone fan, I think they have fixed a lot of the problems that the first version had, and I think you'll get a good experience out of these now. So I will link them in the below, and as I orbit myself, I will say thank you so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.